recording.
The light's on air, boys. Perk up.
I can't do that in a sports bra. That's what you meant, right?
No, yeah, that's what I meant. Oh, hello.
Oh, hi.
This is Creatures of the Night. No, but it kind of goes along with what we were talking about, all the Instagram bullshit we've been seeing lately.
Oh my God, yeah. So look, I'm not a prude, guys. Maybe I sound like that at times, but no, I couldn't. I watch dirty shows all the time.
If anything, I sound like it.
I just don't like it just surprising me on my social media. I didn't ask to see that.
Right.
So, like, I follow some of these memes, type Instagram pages that's always got jokes and stuff. And there's this one that obviously is sponsored by some sex toy company. So it's like for every 5 funny memes, then you get a sex toy ad. And it's like, no, stop it. You're scrolling your Instagram and then bam, a fucking dildo in your face. And it's like, no, that's not my scene. But I can't unfollow it because those 5 fucking memes were pretty funny. So I'm just like, I just scroll past fastly. And then, yeah, I was telling you before we started recording that one of the paranormal accounts that I follow on Twitter retweeted I don't know where it came from. I didn't even pay attention. Just all of a sudden, there's this woman laying on her back in lingerie, nipple out, and somebody's hands all on her shit. And I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? How is this allowed?
Wait, this said paranormal group. So what exactly is going on here? That's paranormal.
They were talking about fetishes, and I'm sorry, guys. That's not paranormal. You might think it's weird. You might think it's kind of funky and strange, but it's not. It's just what people are into, okay?
Right. Is that a cryptid grabbing her? Like, what is paranormal about it?
It's a ghost hand. I mean, like, had they explained it that way, maybe I would have been like, oh, I see why you're sharing this.
Gotcha.
But no. I mean, it grabbed my attention, but I don't remember the account. Yeah. I don't even remember either one of them. I was angry with both of them. I didn't ask to see this beautiful lady in lingerie. She is attractive, but no, not my scene.
I know. This is why I actually stopped going on Facebook, because it was always bad news. It was always like, look at what they're doing to this dog. I'm just scrolling through my feed, right? Everything's hunky-dory. Yep. Someone loves Jesus, and my daughters are beautiful. Love it. Oh, you just had a boy. That's nice. And then there it is, an abused animal. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this? Like, I was just looking at happy things. Everything going on in everyone's lives is great. And now this shit. And then, like, I'd get to work, and I'd be like, this is ruined my day. I know that shit exists. I know that that's out there. I am not abusing my animals. I go out of my way to give them many cookies. And I do the same everywhere. When I see a dog, I hold my hand out. They're just so friendly and warm, and I love them. I don't want to see... it just went all over me. So that's like why I could not be on social media anymore, and why I went to Instagram, because it was like, okay, I can control this. But now it seems like that's out of control.
It's all infested with this stuff you didn't ask for. But I was about to say we don't sneak dirty stuff in on you, but I did just say the word dildo pretty loudly. So
there you go, in your face. It's there. You'll never get it out of your mind now.
Yes, if my mother is listening to this, or my father-in-law, they're like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God, she does say words. How dare she?
I think my mother knows I have a filthy mouth. They've accepted it. It's been a long time. We weren't allowed to I'm Wendy, by the way, and that's Chris.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Okay, so back to this. When we were growing up, we weren't allowed to curse, though my parents used curse words and stuff, but just like I tell my children, you're not an adult, so you don't get to do it. And then I tried to strongly encourage them not to use those words, because I do feel that it makes you sound unintelligent when you overuse them and you're not using proper grammar or, just more elegant words. I do tell them that. However, I can't stop myself.
No. Lots of F-bomb.
Right. I just tell them I'm already a ruined woman. I don't know how to go back from this, but you can be better.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. But when we were kids growing up, no, we got our mouths washed out with soap if we used curse words or said something inappropriate. But then we turned 18 and it's like it flipped a switch. All of a sudden my parents were like, yeah, do what you want. Would you like to have a beer with us? It's like, calm down.
Wow, total opposite on this side of the fence here. But yes, with the cuss words. My mom was definitely against using a colorful language, if you must. And my dad really didn't cuss either. They were very mindful of their language around me. As a matter of fact, when I was younger, my mom used to say the word putz a lot. So I would say it too. She'd say putz. And then one day she decided that that was a bad word. And I was, still going around with my 7-year-old tongue saying putz. And she goes, "No, Chrissy, no, don't say that word. It's a bad word." I'm like, "It's a bad word? I didn't know I was saying bad words." Like, it just went all over me and my strawberry shortcake dolls. And, listen, my little mushroom headed friends.
We can no longer say that word.
We can no longer say that word. But same situation. I was 18 years old. I was having a couple of friends over. We were at the kitchen table and we were all standing up. My mom and my dad were there. Honestly, I think it was like a birthday. I think I had a cake or something. The windows were open. We're looking out into the street and something is going down the street. I don't even remember what it was. I just remember what came out of my mouth. I said, "Oh, shit." And right then I realized that just came out of my mouth. And I look around and the mom and the dad both acted like they didn't hear me. Like, am I in a time warp? Am I in a vortex? What's about to happen?
You're waiting for it to drop.
Yeah.
It's like, I know they heard me. They're going to get me later when I least suspect it.
Yeah. It never came up, but I think it was the same situation. Like you said, I think it was she's 18. What can we do?
Yeah. I should say this, though, even after I turned 18 and even after I had children, they would still correct me for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they would. They would just be like, "Wendy, don't do that.
Oh,
don't say that."
Oh.
And I'm just like, what?
I wish that I had the mindset of the little girl, Ruby, from Christmas Vacation, National Lampoons, and she says something about, "Yeah, he's really shitting bricks." And you know what I'm saying? And Griswold, he looks at her and he goes, "You really shouldn't say that word." And she's like, "I'm sorry, shitting rocks." And he's like, "Okay, whatever." I just wish that was my level of, mentality back in the day because, it's just so funny to correct yourself in that manner. It's like, okay, good. We'll continue with the curse word.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my parents just gave up. They were like, okay. So now they don't say it to me.
Well, wait till they hear this episode with that whole D word that you dropped at the very beginning. Oh, shit. You're in for a remake.
My dad will not be listening to this. I'm certain of it. I should go ahead and put that warning in the beginning.
Warning, the word dildo is in this.
No.
Do not listen to this at work. Vulgar.
So yeah, like we said, guys, this is a paranormal podcast, and if you're new to this, then each week we tell stories to each other. We don't just sit here and talk about our childhood and vulgar things and whatnot, though that does get sprinkled in. So we're going to give you some good paranormal stuff, but it could be mixed with some mess.
You got to wait for it. We make you wait for it. Just like going on a paranormal investigation yourself. You got to sit around and wait for it. That's what this show is all about.
Right. Anyways. So for my podcast this week, in honor of St. Patrick's Day, because mine comes out the Monday before St. Patrick's Day, my story, of course, is coming from Ireland. It just would feel wrong to do it any other way.
No, I love stories from Ireland, and how fitting that we're drinking during this podcast. We never do that.
Also, if you're new, that's a lie.
Not a lie. I tell tales.
So I know we both covered this country before, but Ireland seems like it just has an array of dark, spooky places to choose from. So it's just hard for me to not keep revisiting it. But before I get into my story, I want to share a little info on the holiday itself. This might shock some of you, but St. Patrick's Day isn't just about celebrating beer and whiskey. Did you know that?
Don't burst my bubble.
Though I am drinking whiskey tonight in honor of it.
Aw, look at you. You should have forewarned me. Is wine acceptable?
Sure. All pleasures. So, St. Patrick's Day is an actual cultural and religious holiday or feast day in observance of the death of St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. St. Patrick was born in Roman Britain in the late 4th century.
Wow.
He was kidnapped at the age of 16 and taken to Ireland as a servant. However, he escaped but returned around the year 432. I know.
Damn.
Like, that feels weird to even say.
That's, that makes sense why I didn't even realize that was a real person. I'm sorry. I thought it was, I thought it was like Valentine's Day and how they just come up with these words. So this is really interesting to me.
No. Legit person just from so long ago.
Wow.
So there's not a whole lot of history on him, obviously. I just said they know where he was born. They know he was in Ireland at some point in time. And he then returned in 432 with a goal to convert the Irish to Christianity. They were doing that wild pagan shit before,
Wild.
All the stuff we love. Many say that he used the shamrock to explain the Trinity to all his followers.
Okay.
By the time of his death, which was March 17th, 461, he had successfully established multiple monasteries, churches, and schools.
Damn.
Some like to even credit him for driving out all the snakes in Ireland.
Oh, really?
I want to know how he did that, so I can try that shit out here in Arizona, though.
It's a magic flute. Who was that?
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember names, though.
Pied Piper.
Yeah. There you go. No, it wasn't that, and it's not a true story anyways. So there were actually never any snakes in Ireland, partly for the same reason that there are no snakes in Hawaii, Iceland, New Zealand, Greenland, or Antarctica. They're islands, and once upon a time, they were a part of larger landmass, but that was during the Ice Age that kept the land far too chilly for cold-blooded reptiles. As the Ice Age ended around 10,000 years ago, glaciers melted, but that only poured cold water into the area around the lands. So while some animals like wild boar, lynx, brown bears managed to make it across into Ireland, snakes, they missed their chance.
Darn. That's okay. I can live without them.
Exactly. Anyways, Ireland came to celebrate St. Patrick's Day with religious services and feasts. It was immigrants, mostly in the United States, who transformed St. Patrick's Day into more of what you see today, a celebration of all things Irish.
SPD.
Cities with large numbers of Irish immigrants began to have elaborate parades and festivities. Boston held the first St. Patrick's Day parade in 1737, followed by New York in 1762. And in 1962, Chicago started the tradition of coloring the river green to mark the holiday.
I knew that.
You knew the year?
No,
but I did not. Quiz?
Jeez, no. But my uncle sent me a picture of it, actually, when they color the river.
Yeah. They take a boat out and they, spray dye into it. And it's such a pretty color, too. But did you know that back in the day, long time ago, blue was actually the color traditionally associated with St. Patrick? The use of green on St. Patrick's Day didn't begin until during the 1798 Irish Rebellion, when the clover became a symbol of nationalism and the wearing of the green on lapels became regular practice. The green soon spread to uniforms as well, and that, combined with the idea of Ireland's lush green lands, eventually blue became a thing of the past.
And then came the green beer, right?
Yes.
Right after that.
Blue beer just wouldn't have looked right, I think.
It would look like ocean water from Sonic. I mean,
that's refreshing. So now Irish and non-Irish alike all over the world annually participate in the wearing of the green, chowing down on corned beef and cabbage, and washing it down with a green beer or 2 or 3.
Yes. Do they think they have ciders that are now green as well, for a celiac?
I would think so. Yeah. I wouldn't go over into an Irish pub actually in Ireland and maybe ask for that.
Hey, give me your greenest cider. But I get my ass kicked out quickly.
I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, I think they're more traditionalists. So
stick with the whiskey.
Yes. But I will tell you this, because you know how bad I want to go to Ireland. I was looking up, do's and don'ts there. Don't try to do their accent. Don't say top of the morning. These are things you should know.
Let me get my notepad. I got to write this shit down.
Do not do this stuff. But something that I wasn't aware of and my cheap ass would fuck this up. They were saying that when you're in a pub, it's tradition that a lot of people will go up to the bar and they will buy a round for the entire place. Hopefully this is a small place. But it's like I go up and I say, around for everybody. And everyone's, yay, thanks.
Yeah.
Then someone else, like you, will have to get up and go around for everybody. So everybody takes turns buying drinks for everybody. So just note to self, everyone, if you're in Ireland and you see people start doing that, then you're going to look like an asshole if you don't get up there and buy a round for everyone.
I love that. So I go up to the bartender and I say, around for everyone and a cider for me. And that's cool.
I think so.
I do like that. I appreciate their honesty about that. And I like it because who the fuck wouldn't want to be friends with someone who's buying you around? They're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I think it supports a community feeling. And that's really cool. Of course, we don't know if it's true either. So I just read it on the internet. So if somebody from Ireland wants to be like, nobody does that shit. Who has the money for that?
It says here his name was Abraham Lincoln. He wrote that shit on the internet. Must be true.
Well, you know I'll believe anything he says. So back to this. St. Patrick's Day is not only celebrated with this Irish food and drink, but also with music and dancing, all things to appreciate the Irish culture. Not to mention, all over the country, there are St. Patrick's Day themed marathon runs and family-friendly events that take place over the weekend leading up to St. Patrick's Day. And they'll do them like with cute little names like Shamrock or Leprechaun Run or Leprechaun Hunt, which here in the United States typically is just a scavenger hunt for kids. But turns out leprechaun hunting isn't just for the kiddos, and it's a lot more serious than one might think.
Oh, no. You know, it just takes me back to that Facebook thing that I was just telling you about where they show you these dogs that are being abused. And now you're telling me about leprechauns getting hunted. And it's like, damn, this is really like crushing.
It's got a good ending. Bear with me. So catching one of the wee folk is no easy task. It's often discouraged as well. They are quick and they are smart and they have magical powers which allow them to vanish in thin air.
I know, I've seen that cereal. It's amazing. They have Lucky Charms, I think.
So when I was reading my podcast out loud, my youngest go, are leprechauns real? And I said, yeah, where do you think your Lucky Charms marshmallows come from? Duh.
Duh. See?
This kid looked at me like I was being serious for a second. And I was just like, he knows I'm full of shit, right? Anyways, a leprechaun falls under the category of fairy folk and is to be believed to have inhabited Ireland before the arrival of the Celts. They are members of a supernatural race found in Irish mythology called the Tuatha De Danann. The leprechaun invaded Ireland but were then banished to live underground. They burrow deep in caves with hidden entrances as rabbit holes or find hollow trunks of fairy trees to call home.
Okay.
They find safety away from humans who seek to capture them. But if you are lucky enough to catch a leprechaun, it's believed that he will grant you 3 wishes in exchange for his release. And though the legend of the leprechaun is well over thousands of years old, and you would think it's simply just a very old folklore, think again. There was a sighting as recently as 1989. What were you doing in 1989?
I was watching Alf.
So I would have been, what? I would have been 6. So in school, first grade, probably met my first boyfriend already. I was a little slut. No.
I think I know why you're getting those Instagram posts. You know what, though? These leprechaun sightings, it's reminding me of, what was it, the Kevins? I couldn't say their fucking name in the Krampus episode. Those gremlins that live underground and then they just appear. You know, I'm starting to see like a pattern with all of these alleged cryptids or legendary beings. I mean, these people are telling stories for a reason.
Yes.
They saw shit.
This shit is real.
Yeah.
People are seeing this shit. It exists. Now, what it exactly is uncertain because they're too hard to fucking catch, I guess.
Yeah.
But this sighting in 1989, it was by a pub owner named J.P. O'Hara in the town of Carlingford in County Louth. O'Hara claimed that he heard screams from a nearby well and quickly ran to investigate the sounds. But once he reached the area, the only thing he found were the remains of small bones and clothing that he believed belonged to a leprechaun, due to the size, of course, and the presence of gold coins in the pockets.
Did he keep it?
Oh, yeah. He took it back to his pub, and they are proudly on display to this day. I don't believe that JP is with us anymore, but his pub, I think, is called JP O'Hara, or it's just called O'Hara Pub or something like that. But they still have this stuff on display. But if you look at their menu and stuff, that shit is a fancy, fine-ass restaurant. So I hope that they haven't went all fancy and hid the leprechaun shit like in the storage closet in the back. I hope it's at least in the hallway to the bathroom or something.
Well, you know what I like hearing? When you're telling me it's a fancy-ass restaurant, to me it means they don't need to upsell you on some local legend that they've had around. If they do have the little guy's suit and gold still somewhere on display, hopefully they've got the fucking bones.
Yeah, you can look at it online. It's little bitty bones. It is so small too. Okay, so maybe you think if it's a baby or something. The bones are too fat to be a baby's bones. Not that I've seen baby bones a lot, but I'm just saying.
In your spare time as a forensic scientist.
Right.
So they look like they're matured. They're mature,
yes.
itty bitty bones.
Yes.
Oh my God. Where is Josh Gates and why has he not done this yet? This is fucking crazy, man.
So not only that, but then the whole town embraces this whole thing. And now every year they hold an annual leprechaun hunt every spring. It seems like the date changes, probably because of the weather there.
Sure.
Now, the object of the hunt is to find plastic versions of the fabled creature, not the creature itself. However, many people participate in the hunt for the hopes of actually catching a glimpse of the real deal. Now, the reason they can't catch an actual leprechaun is because in 2009, local lobbyist and self-proclaimed leprechaun whisperer Kevin Woods, who has seen 3 leprechauns in his lifetime, managed to convince the European Union that Carling Ford's Slebe Foyle Loop Trail near Slate Rock should be protected lands for the 236 leprechauns that Woods, because he's a leprechaun whisperer, says still live in Ireland. So now the trail is under the European Habitats Directive.
I'm just going to put this out there, but I got to move to Ireland. This motherfucker was able to convince the European Union to put a whole forest under the National Preserve because of the leprechauns.
Oh, just a trail in a forest, but yes.
Still, what am I doing in the United States?
There's a whole sign for it and everything.
Wow.
Yep. And this is where the pub owner, J.P. O'Hara, had seen his leprechaun bones. And then it's also where Kevin Woods has spotted his 3 leprechauns that he's seen. Just while he's out walking his dog. No big deal.
What? Yeah. I bet that dog got a hold of that leprechaun. That's why old J.P. only found bones.
Oh, no.
That dog is out there every day like, I got to get me some more leprechaun. It's the best shit ever.
Rose would be like that shit. She'd eat all the leprechauns. She eats everything.
That's what dogs do.
Chance wouldn't do that shit.
No?
No, he's too prissy.
Like, what is that thing? No, thank you. I won't be having none of that.
So it is now illegal to catch leprechauns due to this act that they passed. However, you can still go looking for them, but like in a National Geographic type manner, like you can't disturb them, but you can watch them from afar.
With one of those cameras with a huge lens, right?
Yeah. You're probably not going to get that close unless you're Kevin Woods. The leprechauns love him.
Ha.
So the leprechauns are well known for their love of Irish music, and they're expert musicians when it comes to playing the tin whistle, the fiddle, and even the Irish harp. They are also huge fans of dancing. It is believed that they are excellent shoemakers, given that they dance so much that they constantly wear out their shoes and have to make new ones.
They should make better shoes then. They don't have like a leprechaun Nike?
It's a lot of dancing, I guess.
Shit.
Many say that you will hear a leprechaun before you ever see one. Just listen for their merry music or the sounds of them tapping their hammers, nailing soles onto their new shoes.
Oh, they're either working or they're dancing.
That's all they do all day long.
Wow.
Hiding from people.
What's that noise? Suddenly it stops because they're like, oh, fuck. I really needed these shoes for tonight.
So, to switch gears a bit from the playful, sought-after little leprechaun to the dark meat of my story tonight.
Ooh, dark meat. You know what's funny is actually when you were telling me about the bones, I was like, that was a chicken.
No, you have to see the bones. I don't know where he would have gotten these from for them to be fictitious. Like, what would they have belonged to?
Yeah.
So let me tell you about another kind of Irish fairy that you wouldn't be so lucky to run into. We're going to talk about the Banshee.
Wow, the Banshee. Okay. I love her. I have a whole book like upstairs from like Times Magazine when it came out in like the 80s. Remember I showed it to you before. I have like 2 of them and the Banshee's in there.
She's an interesting character for sure. And I learned some stuff that I wasn't really quite aware of before, like just researching this. So here we go. Since the other world of Irish mythology can be interchangeable in certain texts as either the realm of the fairy folk or the dead, what precisely the banshees are has not truly been determined. So some people think they're fairies and some people think that they're actually like ghosts, basically.
Yeah.
Some would say they are a part of that mythical race, the Tuatha De Dan. Same as the leprechauns.
Yeah.
However, others believe that they were human women who died, most of the time tragically. Historians have found references to the banshee as far back as the 8th century.
What?
Yeah, where the tradition of a woman called a keener would sing a sorrowful song to mourn someone's death.
Oh.
Since these women often accepted alcohol as payment for their services to the mourning families, I would be one of these women.
Yeah, me too.
They were said to be sinners and punished by being doomed to become a banshee upon their death.
Damn.
This may actually explain why the description of the banshee varies greatly with each reported sighting. But some of the most common forms the banshee may take is that of a beautiful woman wearing a shroud. That's one. Number 2.
Okay, I'll take that one. Thank you.
Right.
Let me be her.
Here's another one not so bad. A pale woman in a white dress with long red hair. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Cool. Can handle that.
Cool.
How about a woman with a long silver dress and silver hair? Okay, silver hair's in. Yeah.
Totally in.
Here's, okay.
Wendy looks at me. She's like, and this is one you're going to get.
Yeah, and then here's the really fucked up one. A headless woman carrying a bowl of blood that is naked from the waist up.
Oh, I don't like that.
Right.
Okay, so the headless part and the bowl of blood. Wait, how is she? This is a banshee.
Yes.
So how? But she's headless.
I've never heard that one before. So that one's new to me. Maybe that person wasn't exactly dealing with a traditional banshee, but they were just like, it was a woman. Come on, put it down.
I could tell.
I saw it.
He had some bad whiskey that night, like real bad. Hey, it was St. Patrick's Day. I was celebrating like everyone else. Come on, forgive me.
So there's also an old woman with frightening red eyes, a green dress, and long white hair. I don't want to be that one.
I kind of like that one. The, what is it called? Not coordinating colors. You said red hair and green eyes?
No, red eyes and green dress and white hair. So yes, all the colors look great. It's Christmas-y. Whatever. I just don't want to be old. That's all it is. Then there's the old woman with a veil covering her face, dressed in black with long gray hair. That probably would be me, but I don't, again, want to be old. So
I like the idea of being scary. So I could do all of these except for the naked chick.
Yeah. Keep your fucking clothes on, man.
Exactly. You don't have to take them off to be scary. The headless portion is pretty frightening.
Like, you haven't seen me naked. We can't all be supermodels, okay?
Don't look over here while my 300 pounds is sitting all over my gamer's chair.
Stop it. It doesn't matter because everybody is beautiful, really, at any size. But neither one of us are actually as big as we make out, is all I'm saying. We're actually just really harsh on ourselves.
True.
Like most women.
Right. And we have our heads still. And our clothes on.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't really have much to show, so I'd be topless and they'd be like, I think it was a guy.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Listen, it's just what happens. You have a couple of kids and you breastfeed.
That's so true.
Then it's over with after that.
And they're all like, Banshee. And they're like, no, dude, I just had a couple of kids. Fuck you. Shit, leave me alone. Why am I even here? She's all screaming and stuff. I'm like, Banshee, wow.
So they actually say that too, that there's a lot of different accounts on that scream, that ominous, wailing is something that is reported with all these different sightings. So even the topless one that the guy's like, I swear, guys, it was a banshee. I guess it was because she was screaming. So they all possess this scream like no other that is believed to be an omen of death.
Oh, yeah. Not a good one.
But the description does vary, just like the appearances. Some people say it's not that bad, and then some people are like, it's like, somebody running their nails on a chalkboard, or it's just like,
Ooh.
It varies with different areas.
Gotcha. It's like whatever fucks you up the most. And nails on chalkboard, that does it for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. That's very bad. Some have also claimed to see the Banshee brushing her hair with a comb as if to lure viewers closer to them before delivering her horrible cry. Kind of like a mad mermaid,
Right. She's seducing them in some form of fashion. She's like, no, everything's cool. I'm just brushing my long locks.
Yes, look at it. This beautiful red hair. And then she's all like in your face, screaming and shit.
Screaming. So what does the headless one do to lure you in?
Yeah, she wasn't doing that. Nope. I think that obviously wasn't her style.
Yeah.
So with that said, it's not to mean that banshees are dangerous creatures. They are not what caused the death. They are simply the warning of what is to come.
Like Mothman, just saying.
I don't know about that one.
He's just the warning. That's all.
Okay. Many feel the Banshee attaches herself to a family or a location and stays close to them until all the members have passed away and are safely buried. If you live a life of kindness and did good deeds, your soul would be at peace, and the Banshee would make sure of that. But if you were a person that lived a life of selfishness and committed cruel acts, then it was believed that your soul would remain close to earth, suffering in penance.
Yeah. She's a death seer. Like you said, she's an omen. You're going to die. You see her. All right, it's happening.
Or someone you know is going to die.
Oh, it doesn't necessarily have to be you.
It doesn't have to be you. It could be someone that you know. But she's also like that otherworld jailer that's like not necessarily passing the sentence.
Right. She's not the judge.
But she's the one that's going to make sure that your punishment is carried out if that's what you deserve. Or you're going to be at peace. She's going to make sure the way is clear for you if you were a good person.
Sweet. I'm good. Thanks. We hope so.
Fingers crossed. It is said that the Banshee is linked to ancient noble families of Ireland. So it should be no surprise that the best place to find one is around a damn castle.
Ooh, a damned castle. My favorite.
Well, just a castle. But, there's that potty mouth of mine. It's emphasizing words. So I have a few locations for you, actually, because I had picked a location and I was researching it and I was like, I love this and it's got a Banshee and that's great. And I was looking for evidence on it. And then I fucking discover that it's been a part of an episode of Destination Truth.
I knew. That's so funny. Because as soon as you started talking, I'm like, I know he's been there.
Yeah.
There was a crazy story too, right? Like someone disappears for like a second. Is that the one? Did you see it?
I watched the episode. Nobody disappeared.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm excited to hear about this one then. Because the one that I remember them being in Ireland, they go chasing after Irish legends. There was like a redheaded lady in there too, right? Did you see her? Or was she like talking about the legends and stuff? She was like taking them around?
No. So I think you're thinking of a different. Ireland's got a few.
No, that's true. You said Destination Truth, right? Not Expedition Unknown?
Yeah, Destination Truth.
Oh, all right. Let's have it. I cannot wait because I'm on a different page.
You tell me if it ever connects for you that this is actually the episode that you saw, but I just watched it. Nobody disappeared.
Okay.
So I think this is a different one. Now, on this episode, they also went to 2 other locations during the episode. So it's like I could not look into those locations as well. So as much as I was like, this is my place, this is the location I'm going to do, I was like, well, but what about these other ones? So I had to do all 3. So first, let's talk about Dunluce Castle. This famous Celtic castle stands on a rocky crag of the northeast coast of Ireland in County Antrim.
I'm just going to tell you, I just realized you did say castles. Gabe didn't disappear on a castle episode at all.
There's no Gabe either.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Parts of the castle, which were the headquarters for the Clan MacDonald, date back to the 14th century. And many people have sadly met their deaths on these massive cliff sides. Listen, they built this place and obviously just kept building and building and building, and it took up the whole fucking rock. So, there was nowhere to go. You accidentally lean out the window too much and boom, you're gone. You're dead. Mm-hmm. They said that the whole family, abandoned the place after the kitchen just slid off the damn rock. And, all the servants in the kitchen, went down with it and died.
Oh, my God.
However, I saw that multiple times, but I also saw somebody say, yeah, but if you go and visit the location, there's totally a kitchen set up. There's, an old stove and everything. So, I don't know. Maybe they had multiple kitchens, like the Winchester house.
Yeah, right? I mean, honestly, as soon as you said the kitchen slid off the house, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I would have moved too. There's no reason for me to stay here.
Right?
I need to eat, guys.
This is not cool. So within the cold gray stone walls, there have been reports of many ghostly sightings and apparitions for hundreds of years. One such story is that of Maeve McQuillan, the only daughter of Lord McQuillan, who after defying her father's wishes to marry the man he chose for her, she found herself imprisoned in the northeastern turret of the castle. Maeve had given her heart to Reginald McCann, and every day and night she looked out in hopes that he would come for her. It was a dark and stormy night when Reginald did eventually come to the castle to rescue his love. And with the wind whistling through the battlements of Dunluce Castle, the couple secretly fled the fortress. The two lovers set out on a small boat to cross the turbulent seas. This is poor planning, guys.
What were they, 16? Because bad decisions.
Yeah, obviously. Fighting against the white-topped waves, the small boat was tossed by the cruel seas. Maeve and Reginald clung together as they sank down into the cold, salty depths.
Oh, that happened on the Titanic, too.
No, it didn't. She fucking wrote on that door.
That's right.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I forgot. She was like, I'll always love you.
Peace, motherfucker. And I got a big rock.
Yep.
Set for life.
Oh, but Maeve and Reginald.
They were like young love. It was all sweet and silly because they didn't really think this out. And then Maeve's body was said to have never been recovered from her watery grave. But although her earthly remains are gone forever, Maeve can never be forgotten, for her spirit haunts the dark wind-swept ruins of Dunluce Castle. On dark, stormy nights, visitors to the castle come back with strange stories of disturbing wails and screams coming from the northeast tower.
Okay, but there's an ocean right there and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. It's so fucking loud and windy.
Yeah.
But so Maeve is believed to be the Banshee of the Dunluce Castle. And this was the first location for the Destination Truth team. They were drawn to this location due to the recent reported sighting, I said, not just sound.
Yeah.
By recent, by the way, I mean 2011, because that's when this episode aired. It actually aired March 17th, 2011 to be exact. It was like a St. Patrick's Day special episode, so I basically just copycatted their idea, and I'm retelling their episode.
They had a good marketer. I'll have to copycat that shit too.
Right. Well, I mean, hey, if it's good enough for Josh Gates, it's good enough for us.
I love it. Hey, was Ryder in this episode?
Yes, she was.
Love her.
So the witness that I'm speaking of about the recent sighting, his name is Darren Deneen. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but his name is Darren. He was walking the grounds of Dunluce Castle when he heard howling coming from the cliffs. Mm-hmm. So you think, okay, it's Wendy and whatnot. But he runs to investigate. And then he saw the spectral figure of a woman. And shortly after he saw her, poof, she vanished.
Yeah. And that was what year?
2011.
Damn.
Or somewhere around that. If they investigated in March, I mean, maybe Darren saw this, at the end of 2010.
Damn.
Yeah. So on the night that the team investigated, they experienced almost exactly the same thing. They heard that odd howling sound near the cliffs beside the castle. However, unlike Darren, they didn't actually see any visual evidence of the Banshee.
Yeah.
But if you watch the episode and you hear this howling, it's not wind. Now, could it be an animal? I don't know. Maybe. But it's definitely not the wind.
Oh, okay. But a howling nonetheless. It sounds female?
It sounds like howling.
So if Lexi was out there, my little Dotson was out there, and she's all like, "Row, row, row."
No,
I mean,
it's not like that, but my concern would be that it's owl-like is the thing.
Okay.
Not like a dog. It definitely wasn't like that kind of howl.
okay.
Also, I mean, Josh Gates has traveled the world. His whole team has with Destination Truth. You think that they would recognize whether it sounded like an animal or not? And they agreed it did not.
They do know some people to take those clips to have them analyzed. I've seen that on episodes before. So if they were unsure about it, they would have taken it to their Los Angeles zoologist or whoever the fuck that awesome man is that they always take everything animal-like to. And he's like, yo, this is a piece of hair that hasn't been discovered yet. Or he's like, nope, totally an owl. Duh.
Yeah, and they openly admit, like in this episode, there was some other evidence that I'm not mentioning only because at the end they were like, we reviewed it further and we've decided that it wasn't something.
Yeah, right.
So had they thought this howling was an animal, I think they would have said that. It could have been an owl. Do owls hang out by the ocean?
Ocean?
I don't know.
In Ireland? That's what I was going to ask. I don't know what animal is really, out there. Usually it's a seagull.
Yeah.
From what I understand, mermaids, like to hang out.
Well, that's another episode for another time.
There's this thing called the Laka Waka. I mean, but I don't know if she screams. I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So moving on, next we visit the site of the Rattlin Island Massacre.
Yes.
Rattlin Island for years was used as a sanctuary from foreign invaders or any type of invaders. The natural defenses and the rocky shore and the way that the water moved made it hard for people to land here on the island. So a lot of people would take refuge there when they feared an attack. The McDonald's made Rattlin their base for, I don't know what this really means, but residents to the enterprise of Losser. I don't know what enterprise means in their terms.
Not like Starship
That's
Enterprise.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know if these were time-traveling McDonald's or something. But on July 26, 1557... the military leaders, Sorley Boy MacDonald, and other Scots, because this is kind of in between both Northern Ireland and Scotland, they had sent their wives, children, elderly, and sick to Rattlin Island for safety. However, acting on the instruction of Sir Henry Sidney, the Earl of Essex, Sir Francis Drake and Sir John Norreys took the island by storm. Norreys' forces hunted the old, sick, very young, and the women who were hiding in the nearby caves and killed everyone. More than 600 Scots and Irish were killed in that attack. The island is now said to be home to a Banshee, whose wails can be heard near the very same cliffs the women and the children were forced off. That's how they killed them.
Damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah,
they took him out to the plank.
Right, like man up. If you want to do it for real.
Yeah.
For the Destination Truth team, this is a quick one because they received no real evidence. Like I said before, they thought they got something, but upon review, they said, nah. They thought they got something on thermal, but then they disregarded it. Also, the winds on the island were ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
It was making it hard to see, for one thing, and then also, like, getting any kind of audio evidence wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
They didn't get much, and they moved on. However, you should know that if you're in the area, that the Banshee isn't the only supernatural spirit living on the island. Bruce Castle is also said to be home to a ghostly guard in leather armor and a lady in brown that is known to approach visitors only to vanish as they come closer. She's like, hey, I got something to tell you. And then they come closer and she's like, I was just kidding. Bye.
Damn, that lady in brown.
Yeah. But I did found a recent story linked to the island. That was pretty spooky. A group of fishermen stopped for a break on the island and they settled down in a cave. They lit a fire and they made some tea and used a large flat boulder as a makeshift table. As they were placing their cups on the table, one of the group members began to pour the tea. And then a hand appeared out of the darkness, placing their own cup on the boulder. This ghost brought his own teacup. All the men saw this hand, but dared not look up at their ghostly guests. Once the extra cup was filled, they go ahead and fill it up for him. The mysterious hand takes the cup and withdraws back into the darkness. The end.
Oh, that's an offering. And that has to be matcha green tea, right? Because they're serving that shit now at Dunkin' Donuts. I know it. We're talking St. Patrick's Day, so I know it's matcha, right?
I don't know, but you are going to Europe soon. So I'm saying, note to self, bring tea with you on any investigations. Offer that up.
You know what? That's so funny that, okay, so you don't know this about me. I carry tea with me no matter where I go. I have tea bags in my backpack. I do, because it's like, I want something to drink, and if it's going to be hot, I need some caffeine. And I have also tea bags that say they're like the stress relieving tea bags too, because you know me, I get a little stressed out. I get a little angry at people. And I need to chill out.
You don't say.
So yeah, okay. So bring some tea. Check.
Yeah. Anyways, so to the last main event of the Destination Truth episode and my actual location that I was researching, Duckett's Grove. Duckett's Grove was originally a modest 2-story house built in the style of its day, but in the mid-18th century, the family grew in wealth and social standing in both Corlo and Dublin City. It became clear to the owner, William Duckett, that the somewhat ordinary family home was insufficient to meet his social needs. William Duckett then married an heiress by the name of Harriet in order to further his aspirations of grandeur. In 1830, he began work on making Duckett's Grove a Gothic revival masterpiece of epic proportions and making it one of the largest homes in the area.
Do you think Duckett called Harriet Harry for short?
I hope not.
He's like, hey, Harry, make me a sandwich. She's like, I have a nickname for you too, Duckett.
Now, believing his home, after all this renovation, was suitable, William began to throw lavish parties, inviting all of Dublin society to mingle with the Duckett family. William was somewhat of a ladies' man, and that is putting it kindly. He was actually a slut.
Oh, I bet she did have a few nicknames for him then.
I think she did. And you know what? They don't tell you. I couldn't find it, at least. Somebody please let me know if you know. What happened to Harriet? Because in 1997, William got himself a second wife. So
wow.
I don't know if he divorced her, she passed away. They didn't have any kids, so she didn't die like in childbirth or anything. But I don't know what happened to her. But he remarried Maria, who had a daughter, Olivia. And Olivia eventually became estranged from her mother, Maria. Probably because she married a fucking asshole. I don't know. I'm just speculating there.
I'm with you.
Well, this shows you he wasn't a good guy. He had a secret love affair with a young, nameless woman, they don't give her name, who died tragically on the property after falling from a horse. The young woman's mother supposedly cursed William and his house with the Banshee that many report seeing to this day. After the death of William Duckett in 1908, his wife Maria lived in the estate until 1916, and then she moved to Dublin because the house was too big for her. Following the departure of the Ducketts, the estate was managed by an agent and local farmers and later the Land Commission. But unfortunately, a devastating, mysterious fire, they don't know how it started, happened in 1933, leaving the structure in ruins. Now, the grounds serve as a park to the community, but be aware, before you take an evening stroll through the gardens, the bringer of death can be heard shrieking in the winds through the ruins of Duckett's Grove. Many believe that the Banshee is that young woman that fell off the horse because the mother supposedly cursed William and everything. They thought that that's... Right. It seems strange, though, that she would curse them with her own daughter's haunting spirit. But not at the same time. It's kind of like, don't forget what you fucking did, asshole. I don't know.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I can see both sides of that story, and that sucks because, A, now she's doomed to fucking spend her eternal years, walking around this place where old Cheatsy McCheats is, doing his thing. Yeah. And she's got to go and scream and wail and cry. But on the other hand, now he's haunted by that lady, too, that he wronged. So, I mean, I don't know. Is it wrong? Is it right?
Right. And there are some mothers that will say, you made your bed, you're going to lie in it. So, like, she's somewhat punishing her daughter for her behavior as well, maybe? Again, speculating.
For eternity?
Yeah.
God, that's rough. That's some tough love right there.
So, noted accounts of the Banshee include, after hearing the cry, a woman just suddenly dropped dead on the grounds of Duckett's Grove.
Wow.
And a garden worker heard the cry before he got the call about his mother's death that happened the following morning.
Wow. I mean, his mom was probably just old, right? She just happened to be dead at the same time. Maybe a heart attack. Maybe it wasn't the Banshee getting her. I mean,
again, the Banshee is not the bringer of death. She's just the warning that it's coming. So yes, I found so many accounts of people saying, I heard the Banshee before I got the call that my aunt died. She had leukemia. I heard the call of the Banshee before my grandfather had an accident the next day and he was in, a coma for the rest of his life or something like that. But yes, I mean, like, these were things that could just happen. It's not like the Banshee caused it. The Banshee is just this siren to warn you it's about to happen.
yeah, she's an alarm.
She's just preparing you for bad news.
I need that every morning when I get up to go to work. She's like, P.S. Your day's gonna suck! Thanks. Got it.
I don't think
Check.
you need her to tell you that, but I don't.
Banshee, get the fuck out of here. I know this shit already.
It's not getting me out of this bed any quicker. So, the Banshee isn't the only supernatural force roaming the grounds of Duckett's Grove. Many people have reported hearing the sounds of people working in what was formerly the kitchen or the pantry. They've heard disembodied voices and odd banging sounds. They've seen floating balls of light and spectral shadows, as well as apparitions of various figures believed to be members of the Duckett family, including what is believed to be the ghost of William Duckett himself riding his horse around the estate. On Destination Truth's episode, the team was joined by investigators from Ghost Hunters International. I'll be honest with you, they were joined by some other people by shows I've never heard of. So I didn't make note of it. It was like Warehouse 13 or something. I don't know.
I know that. It was a TV show on the same. I remember that when that chick started showing up and I'm like, who the fuck are you? And she's all super tall and stuff. I'm like, who cares? You suck. Whatever.
Nothing really happened with those people. So I didn't note their appearance being there. But yeah, it's a large property. So they brought in some extra reinforcements. And this was the location out of all three locations that gave them the best and most evidence.
Nice.
First, they were in the walled garden, and a teammate by the name Rex. I think he's originally a part of the Destination Truth team, though.
Does he got dark hair?
It was dark, so I don't know. It's all
so
in night vision. Yeah.
they all had dark hair.
He's
Okay.
green. So that's
Oh, that guy.
that guy.
Okay, gotcha.
But Rex briefly saw a shadow duck behind a wall. Very cool experience for him, I'm sure, but sadly, none of that was caught on camera. So, noted there's activity in the garden, but they didn't actually have any physical proof for it.
I hate when that happens.
I know, because you're like, trust me, it's haunted. But it's like,
Oh,
I didn't get
shit.
my camera turned around fast enough.
And that would totally be me.
Yeah.
FYI.
Next, down in the lower level of the structure where the servants' quarters would have been, and this place has like tunnels underneath it too, by the way, which is kind of wild
Extra creepy.
to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh sees a shadow in an upper window above them because, this is all burnt out. So you don't really have upper levels. So in a way up window, he sees like a shadow move
Was that with the FLIR or with his own eyes?
with his own eyes.
Okay.
However, again, cool experience, but sadly, no physical evidence captured.
I hate that for Josh Gates. I mean, honestly, he's not a ghost hunter. He's actually seeking the truth. I mean, that's what he's there to do. So he's not like going to beef it up for you. That's how I feel personally, because I trust wholeheartedly Josh Gates is not beefing it up for us. I trust him.
I believe you. And it happens all the time when
Yeah,
you're on
it does.
investigations and you thought you saw something duck behind a corner or door frame. It was just there, I swear.
And a stairwell.
Yeah. Yes. Sedansville. You got us. But it's hard to catch on camera sometimes.
For
so
sure.
then they were up on the tower and it happens again. They climb up these steep ass metal stairs in the dark, by the way. This is how hardcore they are. And
Brave.
they get to like the middle platform, I guess. And Josh is looking up at one of the windows and he says, oh, I just saw something move in that window. So he's with Ryder and she turns around and she snaps a picture. Now, there is something in this picture but it's really hard to make out what it is.
Oh.
It's not like got a defined shape. I mean, if anything, it looks like a square. It doesn't look like a body of anything. So they kind of disregard it. At first, when she looks at her camera, she's like, something's there. You see that? But they're like, well, shit. We can't get up there to actually see what's in that space.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
And don't you hate that? That's so typical. You see something on your camera screen, but it sounds like they took it home, put it on the big screen. You're like, okay, yeah, what the fuck is that? It's a square?
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. At the time, she was so like confident it was something. They actually end up sending another teammate to go up there. They're like,
wow.
Go up all the way to the top of the stairs and see what's around this window and go up to the top platform for us.
Oh.
But then when it came to review time, they were like, we just don't know. But
Bummer.
This teammate that went up to the stairs, though she didn't note anything by the window, she got up to the top platform. She's at the very top of the turret and she's standing on a stone platform. The metal stairs beneath her, nobody else with her. And she's hearing noise on the metal stairs.
Wow.
And it's caught on audio, too.
Do you think it was a leprechaun?
Yes. Out to get her.
Look, guys, you obviously cannot see this. But when Wendy was telling me about the noises that she heard on the stairs, she put out her two little fingers as if she was climbing the stairs with little feet. So that's why I was like, it had to be a leprechaun, right?
It had to. Mm-hmm. No. My concern is that you would think it was like a bird that flew in there or something like that. But it went on for quite some time. And do birds make that much noise? They don't weigh that much.
Was it nighttime?
It was nighttime.
Birds don't fly at night.
Well...
Nope. End of story.
No, I have to say this. At one point in time, they're like trying to open something and a bird flies out, you know, but it's like a pigeon and it only really stirred because it was disturbed by them.
Yeah.
And also pigeons don't weigh that much. So like, unless it's like woodpeckering on this metal stair, why was it making so much noise?
Oh, that's weird.
So next, in the main entrance of the castle mansion, Josh Ryder and Barry Fitzgerald from Ghost Hunters International.
I like him. He's
cool. I do like him too. They began hearing strange noises and then voices like all around them. They even caught one EVP. Out of all of that, they really only get one EVP out of it that makes sense. They can hear the noises on their recording, but the only word they really make out comes after Barry asks the question, can you make that noise again? And the EVP responds with a simple no. And then, then after that, the activity dies down because the ghost is like, no, leave me the fuck alone. That was hard to do that surround sound shit just a second ago. God, you're asking too much.
And they're all like, can you do that again? She's like, fuck, you didn't see all the stereo. I mean, I had a laser light show going on for you and everything. Harry, come on. No, that's very disappointing. I hate that for him. You don't know what questions to ask. You go in there with the hopes of communicating with the spirit. So you're asking everything that comes to mind, right? This poor guy, he asked the one wrong question.
Well, it's also that you're trying to see if it's intelligent or residual. So you're like, okay, if you're the real deal and you can hear me and respond to what I'm saying, then make that noise again for me, like right here in this area. And ghosts are like, don't tell me what to do, you know?
Yeah.
The noise or the activity dies down and they begin to move to another location. But Josh spots something on the ground. It's a dirty old comb. But like, okay, so maybe it's not dirty, but I would think it's dirty. I hate like when I see combs and brushes because it's other people's hair and anyways like that. So it was like an old timey comb on the ground and either Josh or Ryder went to go like pick it up and then Barry was like, don't touch it. Because even to this day, Irish people believe that taking the Banshee's comb will bring you bad luck.
Shit. And Ryder picked it up?
No, she didn't. Before she could, Barry saved her and was like, don't do it. So they didn't pick it up. They just oogled at it, you know, and was like, that's crazy. And then they exited the area after that and left it where it was at. Now, at the front main entrance of the mansion, castle, there were trap cameras set up. They were actually set up all around the perimeter. And apparently, this camera at the front main entrance was the only one to take photos, and it snapped a photo only twice. So, I'm going to send you those photos. So, there are two photos. The first, nothing's in it. It's just a normal photo. Then the second one that has a circle around it, I didn't do that. Josh did that because he knows we need it.
Yeah.
It is
Whoa.
believed that there is a dark shadow in the second photo of the camera right in front of, that's the main entrance door into the mansion.
Wow. My camera did something really weird. My camera phone, excuse me. It did something really weird. I was staring at the first image that you sent me. There's some lights off through some window. There's another window, door, whatever. Clearly, it's just a ruined building. Mm-hmm. And that, okay, here's her next one pops up in my phone. The fucking image moves. So I'm like, whoa, she sent me something like, this is a video. Nope. It's just my fucking phone doing something freaky. So that's why I was going bananas when I first saw this image that's all in circles and Josh Gates' circle. That thing was like doing the locomotion or something. And I was like, holy shit, that's a ghost.
In your phone.
Yes, in my phone. So, okay. So the first picture, yep. Like I said, ruins, window, ground, sci-fi logo. You can see that it's outside. You can see through the window. There's some lights. And there's clearly nothing there in this photo. Then you go to the next one, and there is a darker image. It's a shadow person, I assume, that based on my knowledge of shadow people, it's blocking out the bit of the wall that's there, and then you don't see anything else. It's got like a hunchback. I don't know. It could be like if you were drawing a heart. I mean, there's no real definition to it. That's why I'm like shouting out these,
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have a human-like shape. They just note, hey, none of us were outside. There was no reason for this camera to be taking a photo. Nobody was walking in front of it. And all of a sudden, there's this shadowy mass on the door frame that wasn't there in the first photo. But it just looked like a blob, doesn't have any definition to it.
No, it's a shadow of a lima bean, but it's definitely there. And his circle is super unique. It's unique because I don't do that shit, but it's got like this mist that comes off of it, which, hey, Josh Gates, come on. We're looking at a paranormal figure here. You don't need to add any more paranormal to the picture.
So this was a screenshot as I was watching the episode. So I think that circle, it moves.
Oh, okay. So you caught it right in the middle.
Yeah, I think I just caught it in the middle. Look, I was impressed that I could do that. I mean, so many times I'm telling you about stuff that, like episodes, paranormal shows that I've watched and the evidence they got. And you're like, did you get a screenshot of it? No, because I'm an old lady and I watch it on TV. So I don't watch it on my phone. This was the first time I watched an episode on my phone. So I was like, I can screenshot this. Just push this button.
I got you.
But yes, I think his circle was kind of moving to make sure your eyes zone into that one area. So not the greatest evidence, but unique because what is it? I don't know. So I have one other photo for you from this episode, and this was taken by Ryder in the banquet hall right after she noted seeing a shadow in the upper window, just like Josh did before near the main entrance. And this is what she got. So you may still be getting it, but I will tell you, yes, there are dust particles all over this. However, there seems to be a white mist figure that kind of has a human-like shape that appears behind the window, not in front of it.
There's two of them almost. I mean, I have the picture and I'm looking at the window and I do see the foggy outline of a humanoid figure right in the middle window of the picture. But then like right next to it, there's also another, like, it looks kind of like an outline of an arm that's extended and a leg that's extended. So, I mean, it could be almost two figures there, but I definitely see what you're trying to show me. That's the thing in the middle window, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, the whole window, I think their idea is that the Banshee is usually this woman in a shroud or she's got long flowing hair or something. So if you Google images of a Banshee and they're all drawings and cartoon images type things, right? It will be this woman with hair all over the place or in a big flowy dress or cape or something like that. So I think they mush this all together as one person, but I think what they're trying to imply is that this is the Banshee, basically.
Yeah. This is an awesome picture. And Ryder took that?
Yeah, she did, which was so cool because like what happens to us so much on investigations, you think you experience something, you take photos, then you don't look at your camera. Or maybe you glance at it, but you're so in the moment that you're like, yeah, I don't know. So they didn't find this until they were reviewing their evidence, like once they got back to their office and whatnot.
Yeah.
But she took this photo right after she thought she saw something, you know?
I mean, that's totally me. I cannot stand to look at my pictures at the exact moment I'm taking them because I want to see it with my own eyes. I want to be there in the moment that I'm taking these pictures. And if anything appears, I want to see it with my own eyes. So I can totally agree with that. And then it's even harder. You're like, okay, let's move. You can't just look at the pictures. You're like, hold on a second. Let's just wait because you're caught up in the moment.
Right.
Honestly, to me, it's an amazing photograph. And there's something in the middle. It's very humanoid. There's something to the right. And there's also something to the left. And maybe it's a Banshee dog. I mean, it looks like my little dog. We've been talking about this whole episode.
It does look like it has like eyes and a nose. It's a triangular shape with some ears and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, this is I would have shit my pants if I caught this picture. I would be done. I'd win. This is my winning photo. Guys, I win. There's a ghost. They exist. Banshee, whatever, ghost, whatever. It's there. I win.
But, you know, we will say when we post this and everything on social media, guys, obviously we see all those little orbs. I'm doing air quotes. It's dust, it's shit, it's dirt, whatever. All these circular particles in the air. But you have to admit that giant mist behind the window, that's a big giant dust particle, if you want to call it that.
I mean, I wasn't even focusing on it. Thank you for sending me the picture with the circles.
That's all Josh. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't have much else for you. However, I will tell you if that wasn't enough paranormal evidence for you, then you can go check out the Karen GSI YouTube channel. They're, I'm assuming, a local paranormal group that had investigated the location back in 2012. Their investigation's about like an hour-long video that's action-packed. They do seances and they do spirit box sessions and they explore the entire grounds. They heard a lot of odd banging noises. They were getting responses on their spirit boxes. Was it relevant or was it random? I don't know. But towards the end of the video, two investigators, they come running up to the other investigators and they say, we just saw something. We just saw a figure of a man. And then immediately after they tell this to their other investigators, they hear a loud ass banging sound where they assume that it's like a door being slammed. So they rush to this big heavy door, you know, because it's like ruins. There's not that many doors left there. So they run to this one and they're like, it's got to be this one, but they couldn't get the door to open. It was almost like it was jammed shut. So they go around and they, you know, they try to recreate it to hear it again. So that was probably the biggest thing that happened on their investigation, but it was a lot of spirit box sessions and hearing tappings and hearing bangs. And so
wow,
if you need more, go check out Karen GSI group. Anyways, if you got any Banshee, Ireland, or any ghost stories at all to share with us, then you can write us at creaturesofthenightparanormal@gmail.com, or you can message us on any of our social media, which is COTN Paranormal on Instagram and COTN Paranormal on Facebook and Twitter. Also, please help us support the show. No, not us. Support the show, sorry.
We're already supporting it.
We're already doing it, motherfucker. I paid for
support.
it. No,
motherfucker.
Please help support the show by rating and leaving a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to be a super supporter, then you could go to our shop, The Spirit Emporium, which you can find on Etsy, and you can also find on our website, creaturesofthenightparanormal.com. We've got cool podcast tees there, and then we have all kinds of paranormal investigating protection items for sale as well.
And Wendy is going to be releasing a brand new Banshee bomb very soon.
It screams when you put it in the water. Harry Potter-like.
So check us out for more.
Anyways, that's all I got for you.
And that was amazing. I love that you went from leprechauns to beer to This Is What You Do in a Bar in Ireland to Banshees. And then Destination Truth to, look, guys, if you're new here, that's one of my favorite all-time shows. And I can't get enough Josh Gates. He's a superstar in the world of investigating because he goes out looking for truth behind the legends. I don't know what he's doing these days, but back in the day, that's what he used to do. And it's awesome. And this was a fantastic show. Lots of good stuff there. We mentioned Ryder. You mentioned Rex. I'm not really sure who that guy is, but
but power to him, man, for being a part of it. Hope you're still out there. Yeah. No, it was funny because at the beginning when I was talking about leprechauns, you said something like, how has Josh Gates not looked for this? And I was like, hold up.
Damn it. I'm getting to it.
We don't mean to bring him up in almost every episode. It just happens. It just fell in my lap. We're not obsessing over you, Josh. I promise.
Okay, maybe I am. But needless to say, I do love a good Destination Truth episode. So thank you, Wendy, for bringing this one to me. I'm sure I've seen it, but I do not remember it clearly because way, way, way back, an hour ago when you started this episode, I was like, oh, it's this, and this. And you're like, no. So I got to go back and re-watch the episode. I tried looking for it while you were talking, but your show was so interesting. I mean, I couldn't be rude. I couldn't just be like, yeah, with my phone on my face.
I appreciate that you're not trying to watch other shows while I'm talking.
While you're talking, let me continue my search. No.
No, but I've got to look for what you're talking about because somebody fucking disappears. You know, we just had that episode a couple of weeks ago about people just going into time warps and shit.
I take back what I said earlier about it being Gabe. I don't know exactly who it was, but one of the investigators from the show go and sit in this field, this very empty field where all this weird shit is supposed to happen. Like trees don't grow, the grass doesn't grow, nobody comes and cuts the grass. It just don't grow. So he goes out there to sit in the middle of the field. After I think Josh Gates had gone out there to sit in the middle of the field and maybe some other investigator had gone out there to sit in the middle of the field. So he's like, nothing's happening, whatever, fuck it. I'm gonna go out there and sit in the middle of the field. They're filming him. Dude fucking lifts up and disappears.
No. That's some David Copperfield shit.
And then he's found like minutes later, like everyone's scrambling. They're freaking the fuck out. And then he's like, what just happened? And they're like, you what? You just lifted off and disappeared. And he's like, I have no idea what just happened. The whole thing. It was very David Copperfield, but nobody was there to explain it. It's a crazy episode. And that's where I thought you were going with this one. And now I don't remember where that is, but that's like, you know, it's something that you see that you never forget. That's why I love the show. And that's why I love your podcast. I'll never forget it. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. And just in time, too, for St. Patrick's Day. I didn't even realize that this one would be going out for that. So that's perfect.
I know.
Awesome.
Like I told you before we were recording, you know, I had a completely different mindset on what I was going to do. And then because we pre-record these, you kind of do the math. You start to realize when this episode's going to release and you're like, fuck. Oh, but it's cool because it led to a location that is truly haunted. Like, yes, Josh Gates' main idea was to hunt for the Banshee. But I also found this other paranormal group on YouTube that they were legit just investigating the location. Like they had other stories associated with it. There's outer buildings because this is a part of a park now. There's some outer buildings that are not all hollowed out. And over the years, they've been used for events, tea parties, crafting, whatever. And so they're apparently haunted by, you know, more recent folks, not, you know, the 1700s or the 16th or 1500s. They're haunted by the craft teacher that loved spending her time there and passed away, you know, that type thing. So they're doing seances trying to connect with her. I didn't even find those stories online. I just found it listening to them kind of explained what they were looking for in their paranormal investigation. So it's a truly haunted location despite its mythical creatures that hang out there as well. This Duckett's Grove. I imagine the castle and the island that we talked about previously as well are the same thing. It's a whole lot of history. And so you could paranormal investigate as well as look for these wild lores. So yeah, of course I love that shit. So it was fun to do. Anyways, I hope everybody else enjoyed it. Like I said, support the show, rate and review, and that's it. We gotta go, man.
Oh, right.
Like 3 hours long.
I don't think so. That was an excellent episode and perfect timing. And yes, good reminder to our folks that are listening to please rate and review and subscribe. So love it.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Drink your green beer.
Buy around for everyone.
For everyone.
And for us.
And for us.
If you happen to see us out.
That's right. Pour a drink for your homies. Bye.
Bye.